Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy. Thanks so much for joining us. And if you're not new here, thanks so much for coming back. Today we're going to talk about what's been going on, just a general life update. So we've had a ton going on. I've actually filmed this video like once before and then didn't edit it because I thought it was awful. So I'm just gonna kind of go over where we're at, what we're doing, what we've been doing, and what we have planned to do in the future. So if you want to see what's been going on, just keep watching. So to start with, as many of you may or may not know, we moved from Portland, Oregon to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2018. So we sold our house in Portland in August and we moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. We stayed with friends for a few weeks while we found a house, and then we bought a home in North Charlotte. Tim's job was north of Charlotte, and so it actually ended up being really close by, but then he ended up switching jobs. It's like there's always a kid at my door. Anyway, he ended up switching jobs, which at first we kind of panicked about because it wasn't necessarily a voluntary change, but his new job ended up being a huge blessing. It's fantastic. Great environment, great company, all that jazz. And so we started talking about, wanting to move. One, because his job was now south of Charlotte and he was working a 9-to-5, which put him commuting between rush hour traffic in Charlotte, which is not fun. And also because the church that we found that we've been going to is in South Carolina. I'm sure you can hear this. My husband is out there doing dishes and the children are going wild. The house, or the church that we go to is in South Carolina. He works for a company that is based in South Charlotte, but he actually is contracted out to a company in South Carolina. And so after about 6 to 8 months of living where we were living, we started talking about moving. We had kind of discussed it before that. The home that we were in was beautiful. It just wasn't quite what we were looking for. And the location wasn't perfect. Not that anything's ever perfect, but all in all, we decided we were gonna move. And so we started looking for a new home. We found a new home in South Carolina. And so we worked on getting everything done with that. We closed in the middle of October. And then immediately after closing, I'm talking like 3 days, like we closed on the 10th, and then on the 13th, we had packed up and we went camping for 10 days to our very first Sukkot celebration. Our church keeps the feast days, and so we celebrate the feast, and this is our first year celebrating Sukkot. So we go out into this beautiful campground up in the mountains and go camping, and it's an amazing experience, but it was a little stressful because it was 3 days after closing on our home. So we did that. We came back from Sukkot, we went to the old house, we got some things packed up, and we moved our things to the new home a couple of days later. So here we are, almost end of October, and now we're trying to get the other house ready to sell. So we have gotten the other house. As of right now, it is contingent, which means that we got it ready, we got it on the market, we showed it, and we got an offer. We are due to close December 10th, actually 1 month after we purchased this house. So that works out kind of serendipitously. And it'll be nice to have that done because it'll just be like one less thing to worry about. It's really like, it's stressful selling a house no matter what. I'm grateful that we got to move out of it first and we didn't have to worry about keeping it clean for showings and doing all that, but it's still stressful. So far everything has gone off without a hitch. It's on the, it's ready to close, and barring any unforeseen complications, we will close on the 10th. So fingers crossed, prayers that nothing goes wrong. Anyway, so we've been doing that. In addition to preparing the house to sell, we've also been trying to get this house ready and, moved into and lived in. We are making progress. We've been staying here since, like I said, I think the 22nd or possibly the 23rd was our first night here. I can't remember exactly. But we've been staying here, so like just about a month or so. Actually, it would be a month today, as of when I'm filming this. But so we've been here, and we've been slowly unpacking. We got new furniture. The kids got new bunk beds instead of single beds. Our plan is to get 2 sets of bunk beds for each room eventually, because we do want to get registered to be foster parents, which means that we need to have extra beds for any foster children that would be coming into the home. It's a far out plan, but it is a plan eventually in the future, which is also part of the reason why we moved to South Carolina. But anyway, so we've been doing all that with the house. We've been trying to get everything settled. Tim, of course, has still had to work. He, you know, has his regular job, and then we're trying to get everything settled in the house. It's going slow because I'm 20 weeks pregnant, and that makes it a little bit difficult to get everything done as quickly and as completely as I would like to have it done, but it's coming together. We've started the kids on their homeschooling, just very casually, kind of 1 subject a day here in the, you know, just not full-blown curriculum yet, but they are doing their homeschooling. So we've gotten them back into that routine, which has helped immensely because they were getting a little squirrely without the actual routine and doing things. We have, let's see, in addition to moving, of course, I'm 20 weeks pregnant with baby number 5. So that has its own just, I don't want to say challenges, but there's just a whole own set of things going on. I'm growing a human, I'm raising 4 of them and trying to keep everything connected. We have doctor's appointments to go to. We have to find new care providers in the area. I need to find a new pediatrician for the kids. I need to find a new primary care doctor. It's a lot. We've also, in the past couple of weeks, Tim and I went to the Elton John concert in Charlotte. That was back at the beginning of November, which was fantastic. I absolutely love Elton John. I love his music, and I love his performances, and I love what he stands for as a person. He's done a lot of charity work, like with the AIDS Foundation, and anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, so it was a fantastic concert. I loved it. When we got home from the concert, or well, right before we had left for the concert that day, and then when we got home that evening, one of our ferrets, Tony Stark, he was not feeling well. And so we thought that he had maybe like eaten something that was causing a blockage, or he was just not able to pass stool. And so I took him in. We tried to take him to an emergency vet, but none of the emergency vets around us see small animals. So we had to wait until the next morning. I found a vet locally that did see exotics and small animals and was comfortable treating him. We got him in, and it turned out that he had bladder stones. So that was Thursday after the concert. Thursday we took him in. They had to catheterize him to back the stones out of his urethra so that he could pass urine. And then once he was able to pass urine and he'd get stabilized because his kidney function had suffered, he then needed surgery. So we transferred him up to the vet that we took him to. Her surgery schedule was full, but her mentor and one of the leading exotics vets in the area was just up about an hour north. So we drove him north to have surgery on Friday. So Friday he had surgery. He was monitored very closely. They weren't able to get all the stones. One or two is still in there. They were monitoring him. They re-x-rayed. They found out that he had more stones, which they suspect could have been a conglomeration of stones on a previous x-ray that were actually a bunch of small ones and had broken up. But he wasn't rebounding the way he should have been, and they still needed to get the other stones. So we had to choose. They could go back in and do surgery. We could stop trying to help him and euthanize, or we could take him to the university hospital up in Raleigh. We drove him to Raleigh. We wanted to give him the best shot that we could, so we drove him to Raleigh. That was Sunday that we drove him up to Raleigh, and we spent 5 or 6 hours in the ER, the exotics animal ER up at the university, and they, long story short, after running his labs and monitoring his kidney function and checking him out, his bladder had ruptured, and his labs were not good. He wasn't strong. We didn't know if he would survive anesthesia to go under for another surgery, and if any part of his bladder was necrotic from the previous surgery, they wouldn't be able to save it, and they'd have to euthanize on the table. He just, in the end, it was the right choice. We had to put him down. It was very difficult. It has sucked. The kids were really upset. We all thought we were taking him there that day to get a second surgery that would save his life. So we did that, and that sucked. So we lost Tony Stark. We have newly adopted, I don't have her with me, and I'm not gonna go get her right now, but we have newly adopted Pepper Potts, who was, if you're a Marvel fan, you know that Pepper Potts is Tony Stark's love interest throughout the movies, and then eventually, well, anyway, they're together. So we got a new little girl that we adopted. She's cute as can be, very sweet, and the kids named her Pepper Potts in honor of Tony Stark, and in keeping with the theme, because our other two ferrets are Rocket and Bucky the Winter Soldier. So yeah, that was hard, that was rough. In fact, just before filming this, we got the university was so sweet, they didn't charge us for the euthanization, and they made a little cast imprint of his paw that they sent us for free. And actually, it turns out that his stones were a result of the food he was eating. Ferrets are very sensitive to peas, like pea protein, pea flour, things like that, and soy components, but because they're obligate carnivores, and so they don't process them all, but peas seem to affect them particularly strongly and can cause stones in their urinary tract. Well, most food brands, after they added that in a filler during the grain-free phase, realized that and removed it. Some didn't. The one we used did not. I contacted them and let them know what happened to our ferret, and that the vet believed that it was a result of his diet, that we'd sent the stones out for testing, and they actually contacted me back and wanted to move forth with making it right and helping out with the final costs and whatnot. So that's been a whole other thing that we're dealing with. The kids, I mean, grief is hard. They're fine most days now, but sometimes they'll be like, oh mommy, I really miss Tony, I didn't want Tony to die, and it's a hard thing. So we've been navigating that on top of all of the other change that they've had. It's all been, you know, good change. We have a new house, it's beautiful. Still gonna take you on a tour of it as soon as it's clean and unpacked, hopefully within the next few weeks. It's got a great yard, it's in a great location, it's wonderful, it's a blessing, but it is still stressful. So, you know, they've had all that upheaval, and then losing Tony and just trying to get back into a routine with school and all this. So it's been a lot. We've had a lot going on. I stopped filming videos for a while because first I didn't know where my camera was, then I didn't know where my makeup was, then I didn't even know what I wanted to talk about, and I was tired and I didn't want to edit it, and my computer wasn't hooked up. And anyway, now we are back. We are running. I should be able to get up regular videos, hopefully. What else has changed? Oh, I cut off all my hair. That's kind of obvious. I did that last week. It's so nice because now I don't have to try and take care of it. It just kind of takes care of itself. What else? Jacob turned 7. He's my big boy. He turned 7 at well, just last week actually. My birthday's coming up in December. Then we have baby boy coming. If you missed that announcement, we are having another boy. We are close to deciding a name, but we haven't picked one yet. But he is due in April, and so he will be coming. Our hope this summer is to have a trip. Tim's family has a family reunion every year in Washington, and we've gone for the past 13, 14 years. This past summer was the first one that we've missed, so we're hoping to be able to take the new little baby and the rest of the family up to Washington this summer. So we would go up to Washington and then stop and see my parents for a couple of days. We'll see Tim's parents while we're there, and we can go visit my sister and then come back. We would be driving. The goal is to have a new van by then because mine's just getting a little loved. We hope to have a new van by then and a pull behind trailer. So those are the goals. We've got some stuff to do, some work on the house. We want to get the washing machine replumbed because right now it is in what we want to be the pantry by the kitchen, and the dryer is all the way in the back of the house, so they're not even near each other, which makes it awkward. So Tim's going to try and replumb that and move the washing machine, and then we want to move the hot water heater, expand the pantry. We just installed a dishwasher. We need to replace the stove and the oven because they're original vintage Hot Point 1970s appliances, and they have served their purpose. Anyway, there's just a whole lot going on, but that's kind of where we're at right now. So that explains my absence, and hopefully we will be here more in the future. If you want to keep up with us, see what we're doing, see where we're going, see where we've been, see how homeschool, baby, all that stuff is going on, then don't forget to subscribe below so that you don't miss any more videos, and I will see you back here real soon. Bye.